let me share my experience on the entire gambit of P2P lending and the SME financing. So recently, DFDL participated into a Asian Financial Institutions Forum, where there were more than 700 delegates attending the event, including the bigwigs from the Propaco, IFC, ADBs. And what everyone was talking about was microfinance lending and its need to grow in the region. Now, if we look at the historical landscape or the way lending currently works, obviously it's the same old procedure wherein a small company has to apply for a loan. Obviously, there have been transformations, technology playing a very key role, wherein a lot of banks and financial institutions trying to work with the technology and making lending more easier, more approachable for these SMEs. However, we have challenges like IFRS 9, which is making things more stringent for the newly startup companies or the small companies to get loan or get funding from the banks. Now, in all this digital transformation in the lending comes the entire bandwidth of P2P lending or the marketplace lending or the internet lending. We have seen a lot of companies in US, UK have grown big. They are playing a very active role in SME financing or the P2P financing. Now the question is, where is Thailand right now in all this? In my view, Thailand is right now sitting at a cusp of growth and a bloom in P2P financing. Why I say this? Obviously, we have seen experiences of the P2P lending of China collapsing, but I differentiate it from a perspective where China allowed its P2P companies or P2P lending to grow first and then to regulate it. Whereas we in Thailand are trying to regulate it first and then maybe allow them to grow and have a more robust and a sustainable platform for the P2P lending in the market. From a regulatory space, we have been listening for the last 3 years, I would say, from 2016, that the regulators are trying to come out with regulations which will be regulating the entire P2P ambit. In September 2018, last year, we saw a regulation issued by the Bank of Thailand, which kind of paved the way towards an individual borrower with a business plan to have lending from a high net worth individual. So kind of giving a green light to the lending between a high net individual and an individual borrower. But the majority of P2P lending still happens by the SMEs, or one would call it the pure P2P lending happens between a institutional borrower or wherein small startup companies or SMEs. Now we all are desperately waiting for the regulator to come out or to streamline the process by which we can do the P2P lending, and a lot of these companies, including many of our clients, are waiting for the regulations to come out. One of the issue, what I feel has been the key for maybe the slow growth or the reluctance by the regulators in coming out with regulations is the data, the credibility of the data. Right now it's almost only NCB, which is the place where you can get all the data. But the way things have transformed, the way these companies are having a lot of practical approach towards data, I think one has to look beyond NCB for data and look at other means or look at the other business models of, let's say, the borrower to find out the data. So to give you an example, if I was running an SME and I'm doing business, and if I'm able to service my debt, do my contracts, make payments on a regular basis in a year, that is itself a data. And with the balance sheet, that would give a lot of comfort to the lenders on a P2P market to obviously take this forward. And this will definitely help the more tech-savvy borrowers to borrow more easily in a short space of time and in an easier way. So I'm really hopeful that 2019 will see a great boom of P2P lending, and I'm expecting that a lot of SMEs and startup will take advantage of this new space of lending.